Hello there, you're watching All 24 News World News Program. I'm your host Islam Said, and up next are the top stories. 15 martyrs in 2 Zionist raids on Gaza shelters, dozens killed and wounded in the ongoing Zionist shelling in the Strip since Thursday dawn. The Euromed Monitor reveals the occupation massacre in Gaza mosque that kills 16 Palestinians, and the Human Rights Watch says that the occupation commits genocide in the Strip. Also in news, over 10 martyrs in Zionist bombing of civilian facilities in Yemen. Houthi group targets 2 Zionist military sites in the occupied territories. Guterres confirms that the Israeli occupation strikes on Syria violates its sovereignty and integrity, while Moscow condemns the Syrian land seizure and calls the Zionist entity to withdraw. And President Tebboune receives Russian Special Representative and Deputy Defense Minister. Bogdanov says that Algeria and Russia share close strategic relations. Stay tuned to the details shortly. Hello again and welcome back to the details. First off, in our news file, 15 Palestinians were killed and over 30 injured in 2 Zionist airstrikes on shelters east of Gaza City, according to medical sources. The attacks targeted 2 schools housing displaced people and a home in the Shaf area of the Tafah neighborhood. Ten Palestinians, including children, were killed and others injured in a Zionist drone attack on a Shati camp west of Gaza City, according to the Palestinian Ministry of Health. The strike targeted a group near the Ahrar headquarters, with the injured transferred to hospitals for treatment. Seven Palestinians, including children, were killed and others injured on Thursday in Zionist airstrike targeting Izzard family home in a Darj neighborhood of Gaza City. Medical sources confirmed the victims were taken to Al Ma'madani Hospital for treatment. Seven Palestinians were killed and others injured on Thursday in Zionist bombings in northern Gaza. 4 were killed near Sheikh Zayed Towers, while 3 others were killed in an attack targeting civilians heading to the civil administration checkpoint. "51 Palestinians have been killed and others injured in ongoing Zionist bombings across the Gaza Strip since Thursday morning. Local sources report 7 martyrs, including 2 children, in an airstrike on a house in a Darj neighborhood of Gaza City. 4 more were killed in a strike on a house in Al Maghazi camp, while 3 were killed and others injured in a drone attack in the Zohor neighborhood north of Rafah. 32 Palestinians were killed and 94 others injured in 4 Zionist attacks in Gaza over the past 24 hours, according to the Palestinian Ministry of Health. Since October 7th of last year, the Zionist aggression has claimed 45,129 lives and injured 107,338, with many victims are still trapped under rubble. A Euro-Mediterranean Human Rights Monitor investigation revealed a Zionist airstrike on a mosque in Gaza during prayers killing 16 Palestinians, including women and children and the elderly, and others injured. The investigation found no evidence of military targets inside or near the mosque, which was destroyed with worshippers inside, leaving many bodies in pieces.
At approximately 4:45 a.m. on Wednesday, 16 November 2023, Israeli aircraft struck Al-Hassan Mosque in the Al-Sanfur area in the Tufa neighborhood, east of Gaza City, without any warning. The attack involved one or two heavy, high-explosive bombs and occurred just as worshippers began their dawn prayers.
Human Rights Watch accused the Zionist entity of committing genocide in Gaza by systematically depriving Palestinians of water and creating conditions leading to their destruction. In a Thursday report, the organization stated that these deliberate actions have caused thousands of deaths, urging the international community to intervene immediately.
Israel is committing the crime of genocide in Gaza, deliberately imposing conditions to destroy part of the population, likely leading to thousands of deaths. Israel's actions and statements by its officials about their desire to destroy Palestinians may amount to the crime of genocide. The widespread deprivation of water in Gaza threatens survival. Israel is responsible for the crime against humanity of genocide in Gaza, and government and international organizations must take necessary measures to prevent genocide in Gaza.
Moving on to the West Bank now, the UN Human Rights Office expressed deep concern over escalating demolitions of Palestinian homes in occupied East Al-Quds, including areas under Palestinian Authority control. It condemned the Zionist actions aimed at annexing the West Bank, seizing Palestinian lands, and replacing communities with settlers, labeling them a violation of international law. The office also called for the immediate evacuation of all settlements, referencing the International Court of Justice's advisory opinion issued last July.
Effective measures to prevent the destruction and ensure
Over 12 people were killed in 3 Zionist airstrikes on Thursday morning, targeting the Al Salif port and Ras Isa oil facility in Yemen. 9 martyrs were reported in the attack on Al Salif northwest of Hodeidah, while 2 more were killed in strikes on Ras Isa 70 kilometers from the port. The raids also caused significant fires at the facility. The Houthi group in Yemen announced on Thursday that it will launched 2 hypersonic ballistic missiles at the Zionist military sites in occupied Jaffa. The military spokesman Yahya Sariyah stated that the operation was a response to the ongoing aggression against the country.
The missile force of the Yemeni Houthi armed forces carried out a significant military operation targeting 2 vital and sensitive military targets of the Israeli enemy in the occupied Jaffa area using 2 Palestine 2 hypersonic ballistic missiles. The operation achieved its goals successfully by the grace of Allah.
وقد حققت العملية أهدافها بنجاح بفضل الله.
Still, Yahya Sariyah stated that the Zionist aggression will not prevent Yemen from responding to the occupation massacres in Gaza Strip, emphasizing that Yemeni military operations will continue until the aggression on the Strip ceases.
ونفذت العملية.
The operation was carried out simultaneously with the Israeli aggression against civilian facilities in the capital Sana'a and the Hodeidah province, including power stations. Our response came as part of a natural and legitimate reaction.
Abu Ubaidah, the military spokesman for Hamas's Qassam brigades, praised the Houthi missile attack on the Zionist entity, commending the Houthi support for Gaza. He called them to intensify of their attacks and condemned the Zionist strikes on Yemen.
We commend the missile attack carried out by our loyal brothers, the Ansar Allah in Yemen, targeting the heart of the Zionist sanity. We praise their steadfast support for Gaza and call on them to escalate their attacks until the occupation submits and ends its genocidal war.
Similarly, the Islamic resistance movement Hamas condemned the Zionist aggression on Yemen, which targeted civilian and service facilities in Sana'a and the port of Hodeidah. In a statement on Thursday, Hamas called the aggression a dangerous escalation and an extension of attacks on the Palestinian people, Syria, and the Arab region. The movement emphasized that such actions would not weaken the resolve of the Palestinian people or the peoples of the region.
We in the Islamic resistance movement Hamas condemn in the strongest terms the Zionist aggression against brotherly Yemen, which targeted civilian and service facilities in the capital Sana'a and in the port of Hodeidah in the west of the country. We consider it a dangerous escalation and an extension of the aggression against our Palestinian people and the aggression against Syria and the Arab world.
UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres condemned the Zionist airstrikes on Syrian military installations, calling them a violation of Syria's sovereignty and territorial integrity. Speaking at the Security Council meeting on Thursday, Guterres urged an end to the large-scale strikes and emphasized the need to respect the 1974 disengagement agreement, which calls for the buffer zone to remain free of military forces except for UN peacekeepers.
Continues to be a major threat in many parts of the country. At the same time, extensive Israeli airstrikes continue. They are violations of Syria's sovereignty and territorial integrity, and they must stop. Israel and Syria must uphold the terms of the 1974 disengagement of forces agreement, which remains fully in force. And Syria's sovereignty, territorial unity and integrity must be fully restored, and all acts of aggression must come to an immediate end. Let me be clear, there should be no military forces in the area of separation other than UN peacekeepers.
Russian President Vladimir Putin denounced occupying Israel's seizure of Syrian territory on Thursday, stating that he believes occupying Israel has no intention of withdrawing its forces from Syria. Speaking at his annual press conference in Moscow, Putin expressed hope for the Zionist entity's withdrawal and reiterated Russia's condemnation of any occupation of Syrian land.
На встречах говорили, что вот нужно создавать какой-то отдел. Но все-таки главный бенефициар происходящих.
The main beneficiary of the ongoing events in Syria, the main beneficiary, in my opinion, is Israel. You may have an opinion of what Israel is doing, but Russia condemns the seizure of any Syrian territories. It is obvious our position on this issue is not subject to any corrections.
The Turkish Ministry of Defense condemned the Zionist decision to expand illegal settlements in the occupied Syrian Golan Heights. In a statement on Thursday, the ministry accused the Zionist occupation of continuing its encroachment on Syrian land to expand settlements, disregarding the international laws and conventions. The statement also highlighted Turkey's support for Syria's efforts to liberate areas occupied by Kurdish units.
We strongly condemned Israel's decision to expand illegal settlements in the Golan Heights, a territory occupied since 1967. Israel continues its unlawful conduct in Syria through land occupation. A ceasefire must be declared immediately to ensure regional stability.
In a related matter, Austria urged the European Union on Thursday to gradually lift sanctions on Syria, contingent on progress in the situation. Austrian Foreign Minister Alexander Schallenberg stated that easing sanctions should be linked to positive developments, emphasizing the need for dialogue channels and discussions on supporting reconstruction and humanitarian aid. The Belgian Foreign Ministry announced its readiness to offer full support to the new regime in Syria. Belgian Prime Minister Alexander De Croo emphasized the need for his country to engage with the new Syrian government, stating that Belgium is committed to supporting the stability and unity of the Syrian people. The crew also stressed the importance of efforts to de-escalate tensions and prevent Syria from becoming a battleground for regional conflicts. Algeria's permanent representative to the UN, Ammar Benjama, stressed that the situation in Sudan continues to deteriorate despite the sustained efforts deployed by the UN Security Council. Speaking during a Security Council meeting devoted to the situation in Sudan, Benjama called on all the Sudanese parties to implement an immediate ceasefire without preconditions.
Situation in Sudan has been an active dossier. Situation in Sudan has been an active dossier in our agenda since the start of the conflict, particularly during the year 2024. During this year, our Council deployed important effort to contribute to the de-escalation of tensions and bring the parties to a ceasefire agreement. The A3 Plus insists on the need to continue engaging constructively on the Sudanese file and wishes to underline the following. First, an immediate ceasefire is imperative. We reiterate our calls for the Sudanese parties to implement an immediate ceasefire without precondition.
To a different matter now, the Algerian President Abdelmadjid Tebboune met with Mikhail Bogdanov, Russian Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs and Special Representative for the Middle East and Africa, and Yonis Bikivi-Karov, Russian Deputy Minister of Defense. The meeting was attended by key Algerian officials, including Minister Delegate to the Minister of Defense and Chief of Staff of the Algerian Army, Saïd Chengriha, Director of the Office of the Presidency, Boualem, Minister of State, and Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ahmed Attaf. After meeting with President Tebboune, Mikhail Bogdanov, Deputy Foreign Minister and Special Representative of the Russian President for the Middle East and Africa, highlighted that close strategic relations between Algeria and Russia. He expressed Russia's readiness to continue cooperation and further discussions with Algeria.
We, along with President, express our gratitude to the President for the time allocated to exchange views between us. We will continue our meetings and efforts together. Our relationship is at a strategic level. We discuss not only the strong ties between our countries, which are very good, but also the conditions in the region, particularly in the Sahel. We exchange perspectives and advice. Thank you very much to the President for his opportunity to discuss these important topics. We are ready to continue our meetings and cooperation, including on political discussions. Thank you very much.
Algeria and Russia expressed satisfaction with the positive outcomes of implementing decisions made during Algerian President Tebboune's state visit to Russia in June 2023. This was discussed during a meeting on Thursday between State Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs Ahmed Attaf and Russian Special Representative Mikhail Bogdanov. The two sides also exchanged views on developments in the Saharan region and the Middle East, particularly in Syria and the occupied Palestinian territories. Nas Maghraman, Secretary General of the Algerian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, co-chaired the fourth session of Algerian-Russian political consultations with Mikhail Bogdanov, Special Representative of the Russian President for the Middle East and Africa. The meeting, held in Algiers, focused on strengthening bilateral relations and advancing cooperation in line with the declaration of deep strategic partnership signed during Algerian President Abdelmadjid Tebboune's visit to Russia in June of last year. The discussions also covered regional and international issues of mutual interest. On Thursday afternoon, President Abdelmajid Tebboune opened the 32nd edition of Algerian Production Exhibition at the Pine Maritime Exhibition Center in Algiers. It was received by the Minister of Internal Trade, the Minister of Foreign Trade and Export Promotion, the Secretary General of the Ministry of National Defense, the Governor of Algiers, local officials, and the President of the Algerian Economic Renewal Council. The 8th Arab Housing Conference held in Algiers and concluded on Thursday highlighted the importance of sustainable construction and housing. The final statement called for smart construction policies, energy reduction, and improved access to housing. It also urged the Arab League to present the recommendations to the Council of Arab Ministers for implementation.
تمت قراءة مخرجات المؤتمر التي كانت ثرية.
The conference outcomes, rich in media content and practical approaches, were presented with a focus on genuine activation of cooperation and partnership among Arab countries, as well as the sharing of pioneering experiences in housing. And evidence of that is Algeria's achievements over the recent years, thanks to its extensive expertise, capabilities in project completion, and advanced research tools. This accumulated experience is fully at the disposal of fellow Arab countries to share and benefit from. A roadmap will be developed to ensure the effective implementation of this partnership.
Housing ministers from various Arab countries praised Algeria's efforts in ensuring the success of the conference. They emphasized the importance of learning from successful Arab experiences in construction and housing and strengthening bilateral and regional cooperation.
We currently have an Algerian contractor working in Tunisia as part of a consortium with a Tunisian contractor on a major project. Hopefully this expertise will be expanded and we will continue to collaborate successfully. We wish both countries success together. This conference was a success and we extend our gratitude to the Algerian government and the President of Algeria, Abdelmajid Tebboune, for the excellent organization. The arrangements were outstanding, particularly in fostering connections among Arab countries. We held numerous meetings with Arab ministers as well as with the Chinese minister. In fact, we had a productive meeting with the Chinese minister just yesterday. All these discussions were fruitful.
Significant decisions were made, especially regarding the reconstruction of Gaza, following the destruction of homes, government facilities, hospitals and mosques. We hope that future meetings will yield even better outcomes. As the Somali Minister of Housing, we have signed bilateral agreements between our two countries. We aim to benefit from Algeria's expertise in urban planning, housing and engineering. May this cooperation bring success to all.
Experts at the Arab Housing Conference in Algeria praised the country's pioneering experience in housing and construction. Participants in parallel workshops noted the significant attention given to the Algerian research, highlighting the country's success in developing smart and environmentally friendly cities. Many Arab nations expressed interest in transferring and applying Algeria's model to their own countries. Arab experts at the conference noted that it provided a valuable opportunity for countries to exchange experiences. They expressed hope for the creation of a unified Arab law for sustainable urban development, housing, and environmentally friendly buildings to address common challenges.
Today, a group of Arab countries is trying to establish a vision for housing and construction activities. When these experiences were presented to us, it gave us a sort of critical sense to evaluate the current situation and address it effectively. Previously, we didn't fully understand the problem or how everyone was approaching it. Each acted independently. This conference brought us together on the same wavelength, speaking the same language, enabling us to compare approaches and work on them for the future.
We hope for the establishment of a unified Arab code for green buildings, given its immense importance, especially in addressing challenges in energy and water. The topics discussed over the past 3 days have been critical in the field of sustainable urban development.
Salah Belaid, head of the Algerian Supreme Council for the Arabic language, called for the creation of an Arabophonic pole to enhance the rich scientific development and practical use of the Arabic language. Speaking at a celebration on Arabic language and artificial intelligence in partnership with the Saudi Embassy in Algeria, Belaid emphasized this pole should involve strong Arab countries with robust economic and human resources.
إن هذا اليوم هو مناسبة مميزة.
Today is a special occasion to highlight the significance of the Arabic language and its invaluable contributions to knowledge and thought. It is an opportunity to honor the pioneers who have served and nurtured the language through teaching, writing, or publishing. We bear the responsibility of preserving our language and passing it on the future generations. Arabic is not merely words we read or write. It is a rich tapestry of history, science, and cultural heritage.
أو نكتبها وإنما تاريخ وعلم وحضارة ثقافية.
And finally, to a lighter note, the 12th edition of the International Malouf Music Festival in Constantine concluded after 5 days of vibrant performances featuring 20 artists from 10 Arab and foreign countries. The closing night at the Ahmed Bey Grand Hall began with a performance by the Tears Band from Western Sahara, who sang Algeria, Land of Freedom, alongside Algerian artists showcasing Hausi and Andalusian music to the delight of the audience.
الحمد لله اليوم مهرجان الدولي للمالوف.
Thank God the International Malouf Festival proved to be a great success, especially with the closing night being truly exceptional. I had the honor of sharing the stage with the renowned artists like Manal Gharbi and the talented Reem Hakiki from Tlemcen. The participation of the Sahrawi Arab Republic added a significant touch to the event, highlighting the festival's international essence.
خطوة هامة من محافظة المهرجان.
That's the end of our news program for tonight. Thank you for tuning in. Good night.